Okay, we are going to start now. Alrighty. So, the event today is to answer popular questions our international students often have when it comes to going abroad for their higher education and having a sandwich year for their placement. So, first of all, 012 Global was previously known as Sky9. Our reputation lies in over a decade of experiences within the sector of legal advice, accounting, and mainly study abroad. My name is Ivy, and I am the head of education department at 012 Global. I will be joining Stephanie, who is currently doing her placement with us at 012, on the topic of finding your placement year in the UK while doing your undergraduate or postgraduate degree. So I'll quickly get Stephanie to introduce herself for a little bit. There you go.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Stephanie, and I'm actually an international student, and I'm currently doing my placement year at 012 Global. So I'm studying international business in Germany, and a part of my course is to do a placement year abroad. So I decided to do my placement year with 012 Global. And there are several reasons why I decided to do a course that includes a placement year. One of them being just in general to gain experience you wouldn't get by simply doing a course at university. So on one hand, you are able to put the theory that you learn at university into practice, but on the other hand, you learn a lot of things that you would not learn in theory at university. Another point of doing a placement that I think is really interesting as well is just to discover new places as well. So you might be able to do your placement in a city or in a country where you have not been before. You get to know a lot of people that will help you in your future. And one big point as well is, getting the experience of working in a company, which always looks very good on your CV. So for future employability, it is always really helpful to have done a placement year.
Awesome, thank you for that introduction. So I'm just quickly gonna run through a few bits before we can make a sharp stop. Right, so due to the restricted length of time we have for today, we will try and answer a question on a first come, first served basis, starting from question that we received even prior to the event. So I'm grabbing another chance to just repeat the 5 pages that we are going to be broadcasting from. So it's again gonna be 012 Global Arab, 012 Thailand, 012 Global Center for Hong Kong and China Mainland, 012 VN, and a Vietnamese page called Scholarship, Study Abroad, and Settlement in the UK. So apart from our regular online webinar, we have 2 YouTube channels which provide over 200 videos on different topics. So please head over there if you miss any of our live session and or would like to find out more about the UK or any other English-speaking country. So if all things are in place, we shall start now. So I'm gonna pop Stephanie back on stage. So Stephanie, if you can just quickly introduce yourself a little bit about your university background, where were you based before you come to the UK for your 012 placement?
So I'm from Germany, so I've studied in the US as well, but my university degree is in international business, studying at the Trier University of Applied Science. And so that course is international business. It's quite a broad course. So and it includes a placement year, which I can do. I can do it in every area of business that I would find interesting. It has to be abroad, which is kind of helpful if you're studying international business to get the international knowledge of how companies are run in different countries. So I'm doing my placement year with 012 Global in the UK, in London, which is an international city. So that gives me the opportunity to gain a lot of experience, which is really helpful for my course. I've learned a lot during that course that I managed to apply during my internship, my placement at 012 Global. But there is definitely a lot that I have learned during my placement now that I have not, learned at university before. So yeah, my course International Business is one course, where I can do a placement at E012 Global.
Okay, and so doing a placement, is that a compulsory sort of thing, or is that something that you choose to do?
For my course, it is compulsory. So my course is quite similar to just a general business administration course, but since my course is called International Business, so in order to get the international part, it is compulsory for me to do a year abroad in another country. So that placement was compulsory. I could have done just a general course without the placement, but I decided to do a course that includes a placement year, because that gives me the opportunity to get a lot more theory, practical experience.
Okay, and just to add to what Stephanie just said as well, because I work with quite a lot of students from overseas, and the question that I get asked a lot is, what is the employability after graduating from, having a UK sort of education? And I think with our international student that come to the UK, doing your placement is sort of like an optional sort of thing. So you don't have to do a placement, but it's always a good idea to go out and do your placement, because first, why not? Second, if you do have a placement, you got more advantages over other students when you go out and apply for a job in the UK when you do graduate. And especially with the post-study work visa, you do want to secure a job position after you graduate. So I think a placement is, even though it's not compulsory, is quite necessary if you do want to secure yourself a job after you graduate. Just a quick note to that as well. So I think we've got a question here. So Kritzana asks, why did you choose 012 Global to do your placement?
Okay, so there are several reasons. One of them being the location. 012 Global is located in the UK, so it is an English-speaking country, which is quite helpful as well. And also the location being in London gives you a lot of opportunities. So first of all, I come from quite a small place in Germany, so getting the opportunity to move to London is that itself is already a big experience. Getting to know a different culture as well, a different new city. Getting experience of being in an international city. There's a lot of people from different backgrounds and cultures living in London. But even also at 012 Global, I got to know a lot of people, also different cultures as well, which I myself find really interesting, to learn more about not just the business itself, but learn more about people, their cultures, their backgrounds. So that's something I found really interesting, which 012 Global gave me the opportunity to do so. And also 012 Global being a company that on one side is also doing business in terms of education, helping students study abroad. Something I've done myself before. I've studied in the US, so I have experience with that, and I can relate to that, and I remember how that was like. So it has been really nice to see that and to help students do the same thing. Because from what I remember, studying abroad has changed me, has given me a lot of opportunities, and now being able to help others do that as well has been really, really nice. And also 012 Global is not a huge company, like some of the big companies there are, but it's rather a small company, which I have enjoyed a lot, because I got to know different parts of the company, different sectors, and the different services we offer. And also it give us the opportunity to get really close to all team members. We know everyone knows everyone in the company, and I find that is always really nice when doing a placement. So it's really a familiar company. You know everyone, and that has been really helpful.
Okay, So I'm just gonna pop you to the next question. So Lynn has been asking, would you recommend other students to do their placement at 012 or just a placement in general?
Well, yeah, my answer is definitely yes. Like I've said before, you in general do a placement. It gives you a lot of experience. You can see how and in which way you can transform, the theoretical experience you learned at university, how you can put that into practice. You're going to meet a lot of new people. You're going to discover new places. You'll know what you might want to do in your future, because a lot of people I know are not really sure about what they want to do in their future. So a placement year will definitely help them figure out if that is something they like, because you can learn a lot at university and you think I might be really interested in doing that, but until you've actually done it, worked in that sector, have gained practical experience, it's only then that you really know that this is something you really like, you'd like to do in your future. So that has been really helpful. That is always really helpful, trying to figure out, if you're not sure what you want to do. So doing a placement can really help you with that. And like Ivy said, for career-wise, for career opportunities, that will help you stand out in the future when looking for a job. So that's what I would definitely recommend. And doing a placement with 012 Global, I can just highly recommend from my own experience, as that has given me a lot of opportunities, and I have really greatly enjoyed it.
All right, so thanks for Stephanie for that answer. I'm just going to quickly add to that as well. So I was previously also an international student coming here to the UK to do my degree as well. But I didn't quite have the chance to have a full year of a placement like Stephanie does. So I did my internship, at a few different places, just like 3 months or sometimes 1 week or 2 weeks. So I think having a full year placement really bring out the benefits of it. And I think where I was doing my internship before, it was nothing like at 012, because I was told, what my duty were, and that was what I restricted to do. So at 012, you get the chances to learn from even marketing, even doing all the design, doing all the admin work, or you can get on the phone and talk to people. And because we are an international sort of like company, we speak in so many different languages, and we get to know all the cultures. We get to know like all the little tasks, and everyone knows a little bit of everything. It's not just like, okay, this is my job description and that's what I'm going to be sticking to. As long as you have the willingness to learn and the willingness to do the task that you are told to do, I think you can really learn a lot from 012. Even for myself now, as a full-time sort of like employee at 012, I'm still learning a lot. So I started as a personnel in the admin department, so it's only just dealing with emails and all of that. But obviously now you can see me sitting here talking on live stream almost every single week and all of that. I think that's another skill that I picked up. And along the way, of course, there are little tasks that I would have never picked up if I never joined a company like 012. So I think recommending placement at 012 is definitely something that I want to do. But of course, because we very selective in terms of like our placement candidate and all of that. So we really want that candidate to first stand out, second, can actually multitask, and third, I think the willingness to learn and actually somebody that can conform to the company cultures is actually very important. And I think Stephanie, because she handled quite a lot of HR stuff, you can talk about a little bit about our company cultures as well.
Yeah, so basically, like you said, it's always very important to fit into a company culture, just to feel like you're, it will help you enjoy your placement. So for us, like Ivy said, just show a willingness to learn, which is really, important, and be creative, be open, bring in new ideas. So we're always open, to ideas from our placement students as well. So it's not like we just tell you what to do, but on the other hand, you can bring in ideas to us as well. so that we can grow together. And so that's the parts that we think it's really important. Also, just have a positive attitude, positive way of thinking. Bring in some energy into the company. Just be disciplined and show some gratitude that makes the whole company and the team atmosphere really nice.
Exactly. All right. Too much about 012. We're going to move on to the next question. So what is Stephanie job position and what are your tasks, your duty at the moment? What do you enjoy and what has been challenging?
So my main job is in the HR department, so human resource, basically being the whole recruitment process, writing job descriptions, posting job ads, towards scheduling, conducting the interviews, writing contracts, and just other general HR duties like looking for the attendance, preparing the training for new staff, making sure everything runs smoothly, and then just salary calculation and just being there for employees, having an open ear for any kind of feedback there is. And then also I'm helping out with the admin part. So for all the students who want to study abroad, I also help with the application process, checking, making sure we have all the documents, doing the application and just general communication with universities. And what I've enjoyed really a lot about my placement as well is that I'm not if I was doing it in a big company, I would probably have like my one position, and I would have my tasks, and that's what I would be doing for the rest of the year. Whereas at 012 Global, I get to know all different functions. So I've really enjoyed also, and during company meetings or just general communication, I get to know a lot of sectors that I'm not necessarily really in. I learn a lot about marketing as well, and our other services, accounting services. I learned about mortgage, about all these different things that I wouldn't necessarily learn if I had a simple, job at a bigger company. So I learned a lot about everything, basically about, how to run a company. You learn a lot more in a small company where you get to see other services as well. So I've really enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed, watching the company itself grow, and just grow with the company, being able to be a part of a company, giving my part into it, and getting the recognition for the work I've done. I've really enjoyed that, and just getting to know some others and learning a lot. The challenges itself, I think what the biggest challenge I think for everyone is at the beginning is just getting a new job, starting a placement. I think that's a challenge for everyone. I don't think any start is really, let's say, easy. But what 012 Global has done is they have made me feel really welcome from the first moment. I had not been to the UK a lot, so as a start in a new company might be challenging. At the same time, 012 Global has made that really nice. And obviously, I would be lying if I said the whole coronavirus wasn't a challenge, but we've made the best out of it. And we were able to continue working from home, doing everything online, being in constant communication via Zoom or just calls. So that has turned out a lot better than we were all, afraid at the beginning.
Okay, just a quick note to that as well. I have so many notes today. So I do apologize to that, but I do feel that you guys will benefit from this. So I think when you join 012, and if you are doing your placement or whether you are applying for a full-time position at 012 as well, do not be afraid to just take on as many tasks as you can, and just really just come out of your shell, because university is somewhere that you're just going to be sitting there learning the knowledge. But this is where you can actually, let yourself shine and really tell us who you are. So when we ask you to do something, it's really just the fact that we want to find out what skill you are really good at, and we want to make the most, like we want to bring out the best of you. Sometimes you don't even find yourself as somebody that's like good at doing those kind of tasks or those skills. But the reason why we have so many tasks that like given out is to actually bring out the best of you. So never be afraid to just take on tasks and just stand out and be the best version of yourself. So bring us back to, how did you actually apply, and how can other students apply to 012?
Okay, so we have an email address called hr@012.vn. So there you can send your application. So what you should include is a CV stating, any work experience you've had already, any experience that will benefit you for the position you're applying to, and your, educational background as well. Along with that, you should just send us a letter as well, a cover letter explaining your situation, what you're looking for, if there are any requirements regarding your placement, when your placement is supposed to start, how long that's supposed to last. So we know that, where we can, if we have a suitable position for you, if we have something that you're looking for, what you're interested in, and just to see if, where you stand and, when you want the placement to start. So that's really important. It would be also make sure that, if you are coming to the UK doing your placement, it would be really helpful for us to know what your current visa status is, your right to work in the UK, if you're doing it integrated in your university, in your program. So we know, to ensure that there's legally everything all correct with that. So it's really important to know more about that. And then just, send along your qualification, whatever qualification you already have. And if you have one, a reference letter would be quite helpful as well.
Okay. And so how did you first find your training at 012?
I found my training really helpful. What I liked was that it wasn't a specific training like a university lecture where you would be sitting there would be someone telling you, explaining your things, but it was a more learning by doing training, which is the way you really learn something. You don't really learn something by someone telling you things on how to do things, but you learn by actually doing them. So that has been really helpful. And it's not like, I got like a training and then they said, now it's over and now you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
But it's more like, whenever there are still questions, when they're still open, I can always, get the training. So you never really stop learning. And even months after your months into your training, your placement, there might still be something coming up, and then we'll do a quick training session again. So it's a constant learning, and it's a learning by doing, and not like a lecture where would be sitting and someone would be teaching you something, and then afterwards you have to apply it yourself.
Yeah, just like Stephanie as well. We sort of like, we have a lot of self-learning and self-teaching going on at 012, and because we quite like to, we have a young team, and not quite a lot of us have the sort of like the very depth of experience. We all have experience. We all have the skill and the knowledge required for the job and for the company. But because of the whole, change in pace and the fast pace of technology, obviously the whole coronavirus situation as well, we've got to adapt to that. A lot of changes has been made in the company, which require us to self-teach and self-learn. So whatever we can actually employ from other companies, or we employ from all the training, or from any sort of resources that we have, we sort of just like learn it, and then we implement it, and then we use it, we make the mistake, and that's where we grow. So often at 012, you will find that you're going to get trained the core work, like the core knowledge or the skill that required for that job position. But as the job goes by, and as the all of the changes have been made, we're going to be having a lot of training sessions that are ongoing. And you can only learn if you actually do the task. You can't just sit there and watch the training, as Stephanie said. So I think that's really important to note there as well. So yeah, which brings us to the next question. What is the most memorable impression when you were working here? She's still
Okay.
working here. It's not like she left and,
Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, that's a good question. I think what I learned a lot, or what I have a memorable impression of is it's the whole company feeling of being a part of a company. So I've worked previously. I've worked in bigger companies where I was doing my task. I was in my department, and people from my department knew me, but I didn't really know anything outside of that. And I got my tasks. That's what I did. But for Zero to Global, what I really like the most there is that you are a big part. You're recognized. You're not taking for granted what you do, and that you're just a big part of a team. I really enjoyed that team atmosphere. Being in a small company, and I think that was has been one of the most memorable impressions that I got. So not necessarily the content and this is how you do business, but more this is how you work with people. Getting those intercultural knowledge, those skills, and just that's something I've enjoyed.
So along the way, you're going to learn that, Stephanie is someone that's really into cake and chocolate, but not into sushi. You're going to learn that a few other stuff, but into different things, but we all work together. And it's not, I think it's not only about work as well. We treat each other like a family. So we really talk to each other and know what's going on behind, all the working scenes or the work hours, like after that as well. So yeah, that's something that I really enjoy at 012 as well. And I think the next question is more for you. You can talk to them as well. Can you also talk about the working hours?
Working hours, we're currently running on 2 working hours, but for the future. So we have working hours from 8:30 to 4:30 here in London in the UK. That includes a half-hour lunch break, which we are always very flexible with. So you're really free to take it whenever you want to. Of course, if you have any scheduled calls, meetings, or anything, you have to make sure that you take your lunch break. The lunch break doesn't interfere with that. But other than that, we're really flexible with that as well. So yeah, that's basically our working hours.
Okay. And I think the next question, I'm gonna be, tipping it off first, and then if you want to add something, you can add as well. So how can you find a placement in the UK? So I think, Stephanie, do you mind telling them the first part where you find your placement first, and then I'll finish it off.
So there are different job portals online where you can look for placements. So I found mine on Indeed. So 012 Global posted their job ad on Indeed, where I found it and then just simply applied to it.
Okay. So I think in the UK we have quite a few different pages or website that you can go on to find your job. So some of that includes, so Indeed is one of the platforms that Stephanie used. Another one would be Reed, so REED. And then you have, I think, is it Job CV or Job Today? So most of these are just website that you can basically go on Google search engine, and if you type in job in the UK, some of the website is going to pop up straight away, or these one. So you can always go on these one if you want to find a placement in the UK. So for big corporate company, like let's say if you are applying for big four, like Deloitte, PwC, or KPMG, things like that, obviously they do have their own deadline and they have their own process of application. So if you do want to apply to these big corporation or any banks in the UK like Barclays or HSBC, I recommend you guys apply in about 6 months to 18 months in advance, just because the application process can take up to that time. So these big corporations usually do their open day during the summer. So obviously what they do is they get in application from you all that applying for the open day first. And in the open day, what they're going to do is they go through the whole application process of applying for a placement or an internship or a job position. So you go to these in, I think, April. There's one in April, there's one in June, there's one in November. It depends on the number of candidates that are applying for those. It might vary over the years. So I myself came to a few different open days that these company hosted. So on the day, you're going to be there from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. So when you go there, they're going to go through the whole application process for everything, for every job application that you might have with them. And then the second part of the day, they will invite employees that are currently working for the company there already to come down and speak to you directly if you have any questions. And then the next part would be they would ask you to, to be divided into groups. So for example, there are 4 groups because I went to the one in at PwC and they divided us into 4 groups because they have 4 lines of services. So banking, insurance, audit, and taxation. So if you pick one group, you're going to go in there, you're going to do a quick assessment. For example, they give you an activity to do, and then you should contribute to that activity by giving your ideas or filling out a big project form and just basically doing the task that you might be asked to do while being a part of that company. And at the end, they will tell you they will tell you answer to question that you might have in regard to visas or in regard to any other bits that you might have regarding the job as well. And so if you are interested in that, I recommend that the first year that you come to the UK, you look into that already. Don't wait until the graduation day and then a day after that, that's where you start looking because all the job must have been taken. So often you will find people that will get their job secured 1 year before they even graduated, and that is why. So they look into, applying for jobs way before they graduate, like a year or 2 before they graduate. So that's something that you really take note on. And with your placement, I think as soon as you come to the UK, just go on these job website already and just start looking. Because for jobs, they do say, when would be the deadline and when they are expecting people to start working at that job position. So just apply as soon as you can. Next question, does all placement lead to a full-time job? I'll take this question for you, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
So for not all placement lead to a full-time job, but of course that's the ideal for international student. But of course, you have to perform really, really well at your placement. Of course, getting a placement is already competitive enough, but having a placement and then ended up having a full-time position is very challenging. So you really need to perform well while you are at that company, no matter if that was only 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, or 3 months, or a whole year, because what you really need to take out from it as well is if you do eventually leave that company and apply for another job position, they are going to be the point of contact if the other employer wants to contact to get some reference. So whatever job position that you are going to apply for, whether that a placement or just a part-time position, you really need to perform well. So of course, a tier 2 visa or a full-time position is the main goal that our international students come to the UK for most of us. But really, guys, you need to work really, really hard to first get that placement, second, get that full-time position. So the next question is, when should I start looking for placement? In my second year or first year of uni? I think I have covered this question just before. So whenever you can, start looking already, and if you feel like you want to give it a go, give it a try, because if you do apply early, then maybe you can't get in this year, but the next year you still can reapply. So there's no harms in just apply as soon as possible. That's just my own experience, unless Stephanie want to share.
No, just basically like you said, as early as possible. But if you don't manage to get placement at one of those big companies, just don't give up hopes, because there's still a lot of smaller companies that might post a job ad for a placement with a lot shorter notice, or they might have some vacancies saying, okay, we can take up a placement student starting next month. So there is still always coming new placement opportunities coming up. So don't panic if you don't get one quite early, but it's always the best to start looking for it as early as possible.
Mm-hmm. And going back to what Stephanie just said as well, I know that every one of us is aiming high for a big corporation or company that large enough to do a tier 2 sponsorship. But for your part-time position or for your placement, any opportunity is good enough. Just remember that you have the year to learn. You have the time to just learn as many skills as you want to, and they will benefit you in some kinds of way. So don't be hesitant when you can't get into those big company that you're aiming for and ended up in a small company. So we previously have a placement person that was with us for a year, and then she went on and do her full-time job at KPMG. So just really take the opportunity and be appreciative of what you are having. Every single company will be large eventually, so don't be bogged down with the fact that the company is so much smaller size than what you are expecting. Just be the best of yourself and really bring the most that you can to the company that you are given that opportunity, I guess. So what interests you about 012 company when you applied?
So basically, like I said, there has been what interested me was for once the location, as I've mentioned, the UK and London specifically is a great location, but also the fact that the service 01, even though I applied for a HR placement, I was also really interested in the services that 012 Global does, from accounting, mortgage, soliciting, even, and then education, which has interested me a lot because I have been an international student myself as well. So those are really parts that I found really interesting, and then also 012 Global being a smaller company really has interested me a lot, because I thought that would provide me with a lot more experiences and then just a more familiar company feel, like you get to know all your team members and the whole company staff, and that's something that really did interest me when I applied.
Okay, and I'm going to reverse the question a little bit. So what is 012 looking for in the candidate, and where is it? And how do I prepare for a Zoom interview for a placement?
Okay, so like we've mentioned before, what we're looking for in candidates is, be open, show a willingness to learn, bringing ideas, don't just sit there and wait for the tasks to come, show initiative, and then bring in your positive thinking and energy into the company, and I think that's something really important. Okay. And then and how you prepare for a Zoom interview. You should first of all make sure all the technical things are set, your camera's working, the audio, everything is working. Be at a quiet place. Don't try not to be too nervous. You can already think of some questions that you might get asked. What are your reasons for applying? Just practice some answers of why do you want to work there, what are your career, what do you hope to do in the future, what do you like about this job, and just being able to describe and sell yourself. Because for some of those questions you can prepare for, and then so you don't get asked a question why do you want to work here, and you first have to think about that answer.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna add to that a little bit as well. So in terms of our candidate, So as Stephanie say, we are looking for somebody that conform to the company culture, which is gratitude, being respectful and appreciative of what you are having here as 012. And second, to be disciplined with yourself. So if you set yourself a target, try to achieve it. But if you don't achieve it, you still have time, you still have a chance to show us that you are willing and you are open to take on any task that require for your job position. And also to be positive, because we are here as a young group of people that want to work together and sort of like bring the company up. So negative thinking is something that we are very would try to avoid as much as possible. Everyone that work in my team know that negativity doesn't exist. There are days where we are stressed and because of the workload and everything like that. But negativity is something that we can't tolerate here at 012. And I think what is really important is that I at 012, because we do a range of services such as accounting, mortgage, we do legal advice, we do immigration advice, we do education, and within education, we don't only work with the UK only, we work with all the English-speaking countries as well, which include Canada, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, the US. So, just really understand that the company is small, but we take on 100 or 1,000 of tasks a day, and to be willing, be open, and just be happy. I think we are right at the end of the live stream, so I'm not going to be taking on more questions for us. But if you do have any more questions, and if you want to speak directly to one of us or any employees at 012 for any of the services that we do, or if you do want to get in touch to get your placement, or if you are trying to get a placement and you are struggling, do give it a shout in the message box on the Facebook page, 012 Global Arab, 012 Thailand, 012 Global Center for Hong Kong and China Mainland, 012 VN, 012 Vietnam, and the Vietnamese page called Scholarship, Study Abroad, and Settlement in the UK. So for all of the pages that I just mentioned, we do have employees or staff that speak that language. So if you feel like you're more comfortable talking in your own language, or you prefer these type of language, you can go straight on there and just pop your question in. One of us is going to be contacting you directly. So we have one question here. My wife got 3 master's degree from Pakistan. Her age is 37. She wants to take admission for PhD. Can she do that? So Stephanie is in charge of the PhD admin department as well, so she can look into this. Stephanie is gonna link Motion. I hope I pronounced your name right. She's gonna link you up with one of our consultants as well, and they will guide you through the whole process. And so yeah, I thank everyone that is joining us today for the live stream. It's been very exciting and interesting for us to just share our thought. For me as part of the management team, and Stephanie is part of the HR, also somebody that experiencing her placement at 012 as well. So yeah, unless Stephanie have anything else to add, I would like to call it here.
Nope, that's it. Thank you all for coming and listening.
All right then, so to watch out for our regular webinar event. I do believe that we have another one tomorrow for any of you that speak Thai, and we have another one on Thursday and Friday as well. So just watch out for all our online events should you require any information. And just remember as well, apart from all of these events that we do have 2 YouTube channels. If you have missed any of our current or previous online event, pop over to our YouTube, find out more. All right then, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.